Do you remember how fun playing make-believe was as a child? I remember pretending to be Magic Girl. Everything I touched was magic, while one of my brothers was Beowulf, half bear, half wolf. It was perhaps the best thing my brothers and I enjoyed together as kids. We got to lose ourselves in an imaginary world and walk in another person's shoes. Even though roles and themes are more complex now, the premise is still the same. It promotes empathy, builds creativity, and teaches critical thinking. Just a few reasons why role-play should be used in higher ed. Role-play helps students dig deep and think critically about what they're learning. In business programs, students take on the roles of different stakeholders, such as buyers and sellers, and engage in negotiations, developing their persuasive skills. Medical students can simulate patient encounters, acting as both the doctor, nurse, and the patient. They practice communication skills, empathy, and clinical decision-making. This helps medical students gain confidence, learn from mistakes, and improve their patient interactions. In history, students take on the roles of historical figures or reenact pivotal moments. This experience helps students understand the motivations, perspectives, and consequences of historical events. By embodying different characters, they gain a deeper appreciation for history. And yes, the benefits of roleplay are backed by research. In Lisa Leopold's communication course at the Monterey Institute for International Studies, 15 students took part in a legal trial roleplay. The trial focused on banning tobacco ads, with each student playing the role of an expert witness or attorney. The trial pushed them to share their ideas, negotiate, and level up their language skills. They learned argumentation techniques from legal dramas, did on-the-spot trials, and examined evidence. Feedback showed their critical thinking had improved, turning them into research wizards and discussion champions. Instructor Shauna Shapiro introduced a pre-writing activity called scholarly dialogue in her writing courses. She wanted her students to step into the minds of the authors they were studying. In a lesson focused on bias, students immersed themselves in articles by John Berger and Alan Gross. The students had to write a 2-page dialogue or email exchange between the two authors, representing both perspectives. This sparked a lively debate about rhetoric in the arts versus the natural sciences. Many students did a great job of imitating the way academics talk, but with a touch of humor, showing that they were feeling more confident in their academic abilities. This new confidence carried over into their writing assignment, which was a critical analysis from the theoretical perspective of Gross or Berger. In another class, students had to write about an environmental question like, is ecotourism an effective method of environmental protection in Costa Rica? To help them, they had to imagine a roundtable conversation at which scholars, activists, and community members discussed their perspectives on the research question. During Shauna's evaluation, she was impressed with how many of their characters engaged by asking questions and raising counter-arguments. Some students, however, struggled. One realized she lacked information to represent all perspectives, and a few spent more time making the dialogues funny rather than content-rich. She highlighted the good parts of their dialogues and gave suggestions for including them in their final paper. And when students had submitted their first drafts, most students agreed that roleplay was helpful. It made more connections between authors and ideas, which made it easier to organize their research papers. In these case studies, students have demonstrated to think both creatively and critically while understanding challenging course material. The main reason for using roleplay in higher education shouldn't just be because it's fun or safe, but because it's both intellectually and linguistically challenging. By bringing roleplay into higher education, we help students hone practical skills and abilities they need to succeed in the real world. It enables students to become active learners who can think on their feet, solve problems, and communicate effectively.